There we go. Hey, welcome everyone, and welcome to a new edition of Vegas Badboyz of Podcasting. I'm DJ Impact, and I got some of the bad boys here with me. How are you doing today? Sin City Steve and Matt Michaels. It's Mother's Day.
It is.
Yeah. So let's wish all of you mothers out there a happy Mother's Day, and thank you for hanging out with us, hanging out with the boys. You know, we're gonna make sure we're on our best behavior tonight. Now, I can't promise that tomorrow or through the rest of the year, but for this day, I can promise we'll be on our best behavior. Okay, so let's try to keep our words on that, fellas. All right, let's jump into some wrestling talk. This is what it's all about. If you happen to be online, we're on Facebook Live, so definitely leave your message, and we'll try to get that message in there. If you have any comments you want to say. If you're listening to us on the podcast, thank you for downloading and listening, and hopefully you are entertained. Maybe you'll say, hey, we thought the same thing too, or you might think we've lost our minds. We're going to jump right into Monday Night Raw. All right, let's get to it, guys. What do you think? I mean, we're on the road of WrestleMania Backlash. Are you liking the way this is all coming together for this event?
Whatever you say, Impact. Whatever you say.
Come on, hour one. Give us a recap. What happened that you liked?
Well, so obviously, I find it funny that MVP is, of course, underscoring the fact right out of the gate that Bobby Lashley be referred to as the almighty Bobby Lashley, which obviously they've been, hyping up that nickname, but now just underscoring it. So I guess that's going to be, a permanent fixture.
Permanent.
So
fixture
whatever.
My ass. Permanent fixture. My ass. I think
well,
that.
Yeah, as permanent as anything is in WWE.
It's gonna.
It'll change next week.
Show the shirts. That's all it's doing. Look at Roman this week. He went from the pin pile to the next shirt within 2 weeks. So you're gonna see the almighty shirt, and then it's gonna go away within 3 weeks.
Yeah, pretty much. Anyway, show started with that promo. Obviously, I mean, you had Drew McIntyre in the mix, Braun Strowman in the mix. Whatever. This just doesn't. I don't know. This just doesn't grab me and just, keep my attention. I don't know what else to say, but I will say this: the very next thing that happened, if you liked what happened at WrestleMania,
okay,
then you had to have liked what happened on Raw, because AJ Styles and Omos wrestled the New Day, and they did the exact same fucking match as what you saw at WrestleMania. Literally. The New Day, the baby faces, got the heat on the smaller man. And then, obviously, Omos makes the hot tag. And what happens now that they're in a completely controlled environment where they can alter the cheers and the boos? some guy in the back pressed the boo button when Omos got the hot tag. Imagine that. So, of course,
Wait a minute.
Omos comes in,
Whoa.
destroys the New Day.
Time out, man.
Mhm.
You're telling me that the guy going like this on the Thunderdome screen wasn't really, booing?
The one guy.
One, exactly.
Right. Oh my God, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was that. I mean, it was a 12-minute match. I do have to say that it's good that they're establishing a new name and a new face, and they're actually getting behind Omos. I would have preferred for it, to not be somebody that's, 8 feet tall and, that kind of thing. But we all know how Vince is at this point.
Right.
So whatever, at least it's a new name. It's a new face, which would end up being, or not so much new, but new and re-debuting talent. That ended up being the theme of Raw. So honestly, I didn't hate this episode of Raw. Usually Raw is the most painful 3 hours of my life during the week.
Right.
This week it wasn't. So I guess baby steps in the right direction.
Well, this week you didn't have a kidney stone.
Wow. Well played.
Yeah.
Well played. Oh man. So yeah. After Styles and Omos picked up the win to retain the titles, instantly backstage we had Sonya and talking with Charlotte Flair, and of course, when Charlotte Flair is involved with things, she is amazing. However, she just always seems to find a way to get herself inserted into these championship matches.
Right.
I find it really funny that Daniel Bryan became a meme when he was added to the WrestleMania title match, but nobody's really commenting about Charlotte Flair and what always seems to happen with Charlotte and how she always seems to just so happen to get put into these three-way matches. Just my thought.
Her whole character, her entire character seems to be exactly what they do for her. Like the whole idea of her saying, there's no women division without me. There's no way of surviving. I am and then they present her in that position for her to be exactly the role. It's so true. It's weird,
I find it funny that at this point they are taking, what a decent segment of fans online are saying, and they're flipping it back on them in the form of storyline. Mm-hmm. So it's great. Honestly, I don't mind that whatsoever.
Yeah.
I just find it funny. That's all.
Yeah, sure.
I find it interesting that WWE is hopefully starting to embrace this bit of self-awareness. We'll see. Speaking of things that are a waste of time, Eva Marie is coming back. All read everything.
Read everything.
I will say this though. If the rumors are true, and I did see a few videos a few years ago that Eva Marie had done some extensive training with Brian Kendrick in his school, working on her in-ring work. Yeah. And if she does come back and there's a definite difference, then I will gladly walk back every bit that I've said. And if she just comes out there and she still sucks in the ring, then, well, I'm not going to walk it back.
I don't think so.
But
go ahead, Matt Michaels, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I mean, the fact of the matter is that I personally liked it better when she was, packaged to us the first time as Carmella. And I don't know why they're changing her now. Also, I can't wait to see she'll be tagging with Naomi within 4 weeks.
Is that when Lana's contract's up?
That's when Lana disappears. I don't know if her contract's up, but
Pretty much.
Once Vince realizes that Ava Marie is not Melina, then things will fall into place.
Oh my God. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Obviously, there was, yet again, more talking segments. That was one thing that really stood out to me for the first or the first 90 minutes. I read somewhere that Lance Storm had actually taken a stopwatch to the in-ring action this week for Monday Night Raw and for AEW Dynamite. And supposedly there was more actual wrestling in the first hour of Dynamite than there was, in the first half hour of Dynamite than what there was in the first 90 minutes of Raw. So we'll see. I didn't go that hardcore into it, but more talking segments. More talking segments, setting the table for later, I guess.
I mean, you gotta build that storyline, and you can't have a bunch of wrestling if no one knows what you're fighting for. So you got to build on that story. I'm with it. Let's go.
Anything else in hour one, Steve, or am I going into hour two now?
Yeah, you can go into well, there's the 4-minute squash match with Charlotte and Dana Brooke, but that was exactly what that was the 4-minute squash match with Charlotte and Dana Brooke. That's already, more time than that needs to be given.
Was it the whoever's silicon pops first match?
Oh boy.
So,
we promised we were going to be on our best behavior, Matt Michaels. We've already messed that up, I guess.
I'm just wondering. I
understand. Yeah, I feel you.
Listen, that's 4 minutes of Lance Storm's clock right there. So, Miz and Morrison, are we starting to see the breakup? That's a good question.
Yeah.
Speaking of talking and all the shit going on, Damian Priest, one of the shining stars of Raw, period. Take him off the show, then it becomes even more painful, right?
Right.
God, I can't believe this. This was amazing. I was surprised that they actually signed Monster. That was amazing to see him. Or was it? No, I'm sorry. So they signed Monsoon. Monsoon was fucking awesome. It was
Monsoon.
No, wait, I'm sorry.
Yeah, try that again.
Mon Mothma.
Oh,
she was great. No, it was a guy. It was a dude. What the fuck, dude? Monchichi. So Monchichi now is finally, going to be on Raw.
You're gonna have to try. Cool. You got to try it again, man. Try. It seems like you're getting there, but you're just not right where you should be. So keep trying. You're going to get that right name. I know.
Well, those words that you just spoke were actually what the agents told him before he went out the curtain. So I don't remember. Is his name Monsieur or Monsieur or
he's a French character, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Monsieur.
Yeah, Monsieur from the French Saudi region.
Obviously.
Absolutely. Anyway, Angel Garza's junior debuted. They haven't even set up Angel Garza's senior yet, but I'll get to him. Why did Garza have to say to Gulak? Why did he have to say in like such a weird, like sexy voice the word ass?
Why not?
It was just I don't know. Ass coming out of his mouth was kind of creepy. So the
you do have to be careful how you use the term ass. You know what I mean? If you don't say it in the correct way, it could mean anything. That's all I'm saying. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. No, I'm sorry. I got thrown on my list here because some of the other stuff that we saw. How long do we all think? Steve, you were talking about that backstage segment. How long do we all think before Charlotte breaks off the engagement with Andrade for Sonya? I think it's possible.
Anything.
And then
Anything can happen in the WWE.
That's true.
Some wise man once said that.
Facts.
Is Rhea, is she now a tweener? Because Asuka's obviously a face and Charlotte's obviously a heel, but they seem to have been thrown off guard by the fans not reacting to Rhea as a heel. So now all of a sudden she's just kind of an in-betweener, which
because yeah, dude, the fans want to cheer for her. I mean, they see her as a badass, which she is, and the fans are right to want to cheer for her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and this is a problem that they're going to have going forward with having such a tight women's division and no actual program just for them. They're going to want to cheer so many different people that you're going to have, these very odd situations where, I don't know what creative's going to do, and a lot more gray you're going to start seeing seeping into characters. And then how can you hate Asuka when she says something like, "This is bird crap"? That was awesome. And then okay, Humberto Carrillo, what the fuck is Dale gas? Because that shirt made no sense to me. I mean, is that what it said? Because that's what I thought it said. What, Steve, do you know what it actually said? Or all I know is it just said Dale gas and then like had a fucking lucha mask or something on it. So I don't know. Anyone?
It's a secret code of some sort. Yeah.
Yeah. No, Dale gas. So yeah, basically step on the gas. Yeah.
Oh, step on the. Oh, well, if I'm Vince, I don't know if you want your guys wearing shirts that say gas.
No shit. although he probably does have immunity at this point. So.
And true, very true. Just thinking, Simon couldn't join us right now, but I know that Simon definitely can relate to Morrison because his Johnny drip drips too. So,
oh boy.
Hurt Business, Shelton and Cedric versus two Mysterios. That was interesting. I didn't know that they had more than one Ray, but they had that two. That was and they lost. They lost to the two Mysterios. And then they didn't get an entrance, which was interesting too. No entrance for them. And then obviously the tag match went as the such in terms of, them breaking up. Okay. The only thing that hit me was it took them 15 years to break up. So you're telling me that Cedric didn't realize any of the shit that he said before right then and there?
Of course not. No one else watches any other program. No one goes back and watches shit from week to week.
But watches, I mean, he's living it. I mean, you kind of would think. I don't know. And then, so we have this match, the Gulak versus Garza, and all I could think was, rose up the ass. By God, how is he even going to shit? Gulak's peddling his ass, and he ain't got any buyers. That's all I got from that match. Then we had Vikings and Raiders. The Viking Raiders. Hey, that was pretty clever there.
Yeah.
Ivar, you sexy little stallion. We are bros, but we don't have the same parents, but metaphorically. And then he zips his mouth and gives Randy the key. Fucking awesome. Awesome shit. And the last thing before hour two, kind of subsided was we saw Sandow and Ricker get into the ring. I mean, Elias and Riker got into the ring. So
Hey, Michaels, really quick. I just have to point out one thing. I unironically, this was Randy Orton's 420th match on Monday Night Raw. And of course, they team him with Matt Riddle.
Wow. That's
there's that.
That's nice. That's nice.
There's a nice little fact for you.
Yeah.
And then hour 3, all I can remember is Alexa was in it. It was nice. Sally or whatever, Lily. She's apparently doing what I was hoping she was going to be doing, and that is terrorizing the divas from afar. I'm sorry, the women's division from afar. So that should be interesting if they do it right. It should be fucking fun.
Right.
But did anything else happen in that last hour?
Lashley versus Strowman in 13 minutes that we can never get back.
Well, at least it wasn't in the first 90 minutes that Lance was.
Exactly. There you go, Lance.
Right.
So I find it very glaring that they did complete the full-scale breakup of the Hurt Business, completely fracturing them on this show when they just dropped a new Hurt Business shirt for sale.
Well, isn't the new Hurt Business T-Bar and Mace? Is that, I mean...
Not official.
And maybe that's why they had to push that fucking moniker for Lashley, is because they realized, oops, we need a new shirt now because the new one doesn't refer to. It's like they're fucking, you know how the wrestling figures would always lag like 8 months behind the actual storylines? They're doing that with t-shirts now. So
pretty much.
That's Raw, I think.
That's the whole show?
I guess, yeah. Nothing else is striking us. So
Impact, did anything stand out for you, bro?
The ending credits.
The ending credits?
Yeah.
That's what I cheer for every week.
I know there are no credits.
They never come. They never
come. That's true.
Whenever I see the little WWE logo at the bottom corner of the screen, I know that's the highlight of my Raw experience because it's over.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I will say, like you had said earlier, I mean, Raw this week, it wasn't that bad. So for that, it took me about 3 days to get through the entire show. And maybe that's what you got to do. You got to split it up within days. You can't do it all at once. That might be the trick, guys, just 1 hour each day. And then you go, okay, yeah, this is real good, So we'll see what happens, man. We'll jump over, though, into Impact Wrestling, one of my favorite shows. Now, Under Siege, that's the pay-per-view that's going to be going on this Saturday. And they are having a 6-way number 1 contenders match. And of course, the winner of this will end up fighting Omega. So who are these folks here? These 6 names. We have Chris Sabin, we got Chris Bay, we got Sami Callihan, we got Matt Cardona, we got Trey Miguel, and we have Moose.
Who is the one? What?
You seem to always his name and Brian Myers. You always seem to just get those two.
Like the hot dog dude, Brian Myers.
There you go. But yeah. Anyway, they will have their 6-way, and you know what? I haven't done a Fridays I Hear Voices in My Head episode. I had only one. But there were some things in my head that I watched on Impact that I'm going to talk about this Friday. I'm not going to get deep into it right now, but what it has to deal with
you taking over Fridays now, buddy? Are you going to release on Saturday? I'll let you have this Friday if you want.
Is it Thursday and a Friday?
Well, you released the last time on a Saturday there, but
right. That's correct. That's right. On a Saturday.
Yeah.
So it's recorded Friday, but released Saturday. But I said Friday because it's recorded. But yeah, you're right.
Everyone gonna be looking for something, ain't gonna be there.
That's right. Okay, so on Saturday for sure, that's what you're gonna be looking for. Hey, I haven't done it too many times, so this will be the second recording of this, but it's going to have. I'm going to talk about how they cannot mess this up, this match, assuming that Moose is going to be the number one contender going up against Kenny. Now, if it's not, that's fine. If it is, we got to talk about it. That's what I'm going to talk about on Saturday's release, because they can mess this up and be in some doo-doo trouble. I'm talking about Impact Wrestling, okay? Anyway, that's your six-way number one contenders match. That's what it's all about this Saturday, May 15th at Under Siege. Other parts, though, of the show. Now, we didn't get a chance to have Tony Khan, like he normally do, shit on the show. But they will always still find a way to do exactly just that. So how are we going to do that? Well, when Kenny Omega teams up with the Good Brothers, it's amazing that they always seem to lose. And they don't never pin Kenny. It's always pinning one of the Good Brothers. So what did good old Kenny say? Look, he referenced several things. Hey, remember, let's face it. He says, wins and losses matters. Now, where have we heard that before? In fact, we heard that same line used this past Wednesday as well as another reminder. But yes, he said it also during that show. But he says, I'm going to tell you what, guys, I'm going to help you guys out. I'm going to send in the big guns to get you through your wins, because apparently they seem to be on a losing streak. And who's the big gun he's sending in? Himself. Kenny Omega is sending in himself. In fact, he told the guys he used to coach an all-girls basketball team, which seemed to get Doc Gallows excited. So sure enough, during that match Doc Gallows had against Juice Robinson, amazing. Guess who won? Doc won, because Kenny was ringside and, of course, interfered. Again, you have the Impact, the Good Brothers, who's on Impact, shitting on them that apparently they can't get the job done without having Kenny, of course, representing AEW, to help them get the job done. It's another way of still shitting on the company with not having Tony there. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Quick question.
Yeah.
Which company is Doc Gallows contracted to?
Impact.
Which company is Juice Robinson contracted to?
Impact. I'm sorry.
Are you sure?
New Japan, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So what you're saying is that the Impact star beat the New Japan star
with the help of the AEW.
With the help of the AEW guy.
Amazing. Amazing. Yeah, that's a good way to look at that too. So anyway, man, I don't know. And then of course, Carl has his match next week. And although they haven't said, we already know they're going to play the same game again. Kenny's probably going to be out there now to help him. But again, these guys, they can't do it alone. They were the Impact Tag Team Champions. It's kind of like how, Cedric and what's his name was treated over there in Raw. They were the tag team champions, and now they just lose every match. Like they can't do anything. To the point now that they're breaking up.
You just compare the
I'm just saying
Good Brothers to fucking Cedric and Shelton.
Yeah, he just did that.
I did that.
Okay.
I did do that.
Yeah.
I did it.
Dude. Sometimes, you know what? You just have toilet paper nearby because your ass is really just spewing diarrhea at this point.
No, I'm spitting facts. Okay? And it's absolutely bullshit as to what's going on. But that's fine. Whatever. Hey, anyway, there was El Phantasmo made his debut, and he went up against VSK. Let me tell you something though. I most of the time, whenever they introduce somebody first time coming into the ring, usually that person, they're going to win, but they just kind of dominate. They do a few of their moves and then they're out. They actually gave VSK a lot of love during this match. Like, it was really going back and forth to a point where you didn't really, I mean, you knew El Phantasmo was going to win, but the way it was being done, you were like, shit, is he? Because VSK was really getting a shine. So, I mean, shout out to him, because again, they don't normally do that to other people that they're not focusing on. So it was a good match overall.
Glad you didn't know that match was taking place, or else we would have had voices in your head talking about how VSK was going to win that match.
That's what haters say. That's what haters say, and that's all right, man. You can stay being a hater.
So
Yeah.
Impact.
Yeah.
I have to ask.
Sure.
What did you think of El Phantasmo?
I liked him. I mean, is his finisher is just the super kick?
Yeah, he uses a super kick. He uses a couple of other things too, but
Okay.
Yeah,
but it was impressive. It was impressive.
I actually did catch this match. I watched it on YouTube,
Okay.
On their YouTube channel, and VSK really surprised me.
Right. It was.
He had a really good showing. They did give him a lot of offense, and the offensive sequences that they gave him, he made the most of them.
Right.
Dare I say, he almost, granted, he did pick up the loss, but he postured himself in a very good way for the future and Impact if they choose to continually bring him back.
Which is interesting, because you don't normally see that, right? When you have somebody you're introducing, it's always going to be a quick squash match, but that's not what this was. So, I mean, shout out to him.
But you got to figure too, I mean, Phantasmo, I get, no one's mentioning the fact that it's an NXT star on Impact.
Yeah. Yep. That is true. But but anyway, that happened. Next, I mean, I'm pretty much going to end Impact with that right there. There was a lot of different other matches happened. I enjoyed Taylor. Wow, Rachel Elling, right? Ellering. And I'm gonna talk more about the female matches next week. But really, everything for this past show was just trying to build up on Under Siege that's going to happen this Saturday. So if you happen to want to watch a good pay-per-view weekend, you go there before you jump over to WrestleMania Backlash on Sunday. But yeah, that's Impact for you there. So I guess we could jump over into NXT. What's your guys' take on that? Anything?
Anything? Man.
Well, hey, I don't mean that like you got through Raw. How did you do it? But I actually didn't get a chance to actually watch NXT this week and this past week. And so I'm sure it was good. And it's recorded. I just haven't got a chance to see it. So tell me about it. What happened? What's some of the highlights?
Let's start off by asking you a cliffhanger question. Did you finally figure out who the guy in the jewelry store was?
I didn't.
You didn't?
So tell me, go ahead.
Oh man, well then I don't even know if I want to talk about.
Tell him anyway.
Just tell me anyway.
Well, it was the $1 Million Man.
Was it?
Yeah. DiBiase.
And after Cameron Grimes had a match this week, Cameron went to the club and he wasn't on the list. And then a limo pulls up and DiBiase comes out and he says, "Kid, you should have bought the club."
That's great.
Yeah, so this
awesome.
This DiBiase thing is just working out beautifully with Grimes. It's just fucking awesome. And Grimes had a great match, of course. He wrestled Asher Hale.
Mm-hmm.
Did a good job. It started off this week though with Swerve Scott defeating Leon Ruff. And I don't know, DJ, have you watched any of the Treasures, WWE Treasure show?
No.
Okay. So the host on that show who goes around with the superstars, his AJ Francis. AJ
Mhm.
Francis is currently an NXT development guy, and AJ Francis made his shocking alignment this week with Swerve, and shit's looking pretty awesome. This is going to be a pretty fucking awesome with Brianna Brandy and the Ashante Adonis. This is a new faction that I think is going to be fucking unreal.
They gave
Something
Swerve
to
his
get
own faction. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's something to get excited about. So,
all right, I'm gonna have to just stay up tonight and watch it.
Yep.
worth it. And then you also had Ciampa and Thatcher against Grizzly on Veterans. Again, another just talk about guys just beating the shit out of each other. It was beautiful. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
You had you had Karrion Kross and Balor and O'Reilly and Pete Dunne in just a nice little segment about who's got the bigger balls, basically, in taking away that the NXT championship.
Yeah.
But later on, speaking about balls, Johnny Gargano and Austin Theory, they basically blindsided Kross, and Kross was coming back during they think they'd have him down, and then he'd get back up. Like, how are you going to stop the monster type of thing? And they finally put him out. And the brilliant thing, after they put him out, it's commercial. You come back, and they are running their asses to their car. And she's trying to catch up with them for an interview, and they were just like, no, we're gotta get out of here. And she's like, well, what about the title match for Candice and Indy? Oh, they'll do good. They'll take care of themselves. They're fine. Get in the car and just bail out of there. So that was some good stuff. Really, really good stuff going on. Of course, Austin Theory has to wrestle Kross now next.
Oh yeah.
Week, which is going to be
amazing.
Yeah.
And that promo with Austin Theory and Scarlett, where he was talking about her nails. Yes.
Yeah. DJ, again, just, I don't know if you want to stay up tonight to watch this.
Yeah.
Because you're going to want to be coherent for some of this stuff, because it really was good.
Yeah.
You know what? You got to start skipping Raw and watching NXT, dude.
All right.
I hate to say
I might have to do that.
Yeah, I hate to say it, but this NXT is a little more there's just more stuff going on. LA Knight on Jake Atlas, good match. Knight got his win, of course. Santos Escobar is going to be wrestling Kushida. I think it's this coming week for the title. The Shotzi Blackheart and Ember Moon versus The Way in a street fight. And Steve, I don't know about you, but did you see this clear fucking win coming? The style of the win?
The style of the win, no. Not at all. I was definitely blindsided by that for sure. Yeah, it's regardless. I mean, it was a 15-minute match, and it was a spot fest, but it was a good spot fest. All four women busted their asses. Plenty of weapons involved, plenty of plunder, plenty of accoutrement, if you will, and they brought it, man. Candice and Indy, your new NXT Women's Tag Champs. So great for them. If anybody deserves a championship run in WWE on any brand, quite honestly, it's Candice LeRae. Yeah. So she's definitely deserving, and for Indy to be able to shadow Candice and to learn from her week in and week out, I think that her trajectory is going to be going up massively from here.
Yeah, DJ, pay attention to the dressing room, the locker room segment with Candice and Indy, because Loomis stuff in that was just fucking hysterical. They can keep this going for as long as they fucking want right now.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything is working with the way. It's phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
And the best thing about it is you don't look at them and go, yeah, this is your top group in a company, right? You kind of go, you look at those four and you go, well, Johnny's been Mr. Takeover, and Candice was always, great performer, but just lacking a little something. And then Indy and Austin were the young kids from, the Indies. Dude, I just, NXT just fucking holds together, man. It really does. So, and that's pretty much the show.
Gotcha.
Tony Storm's gonna get her revenge on Zoe Stark at some point, apparently.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's it. I don't know. For not writing anything down, I think we did a pretty quick recap. So
Well, now here's the crazy part, right? I missed NXT, but I had the nerve to watch AEW. And I'm going to let Sin City Steve go ahead and take it from there.
The nerve.
The
Really?
nerve.
The nerve. This coming from the guy that is happy to watch 3 hours of Monday Night Raw.
1 hour per day.
You do it willingly. You get your popcorn, you get the fuzzy slippers, you dim the lights, you make sure that everything is perfect.
Nope.
Hey, Steve,
just to be disappointed for 3 hours.
You know what, though, Steve? He's never asked once for his money back from watching Monday Night Raw.
Only 5 people did from AEW this week.
I don't know.
5. So we'll get into that. So anyway, the show starts off. Kenny Omega and Michael Nakazawa versus Moxley and Eddie Kingston. Obviously, you kind of knew what was going to happen in this match. Omega just bails midway through the match, leaving his trusted henchman, Michael Nakazawa, to get destroyed by Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston. Pretty intense match for, the length of it. It was about 8 minutes. But again, it ended the way that everybody thought that it would, and it ended the way that it needed to end. Obviously, after the match, you had the Young Bucks come out on stage. Also, Gallows and Anderson attack Moxley from behind, and they lay out Moxley and Eddie Kingston. Omega drops a one-winged angel on Eddie Kingston while Nick Jackson counts the 3.
Can't the Young Bucks do anything without needing the help of the Good Brothers? It's ridiculous to have a team that's not on your show up to take care of business. It is so weird.
From a bunch of guys who apparently can't win at all when they're by themselves. Figure.
They got you, bro. They got you. Oh my God. Heel 101. Anyway, QT Marshall versus Cody Rhodes. Cody wins in a match that went 12 minutes. I'd say a match that went about 7 minutes too long. And if that match was live, then I would understand why the audience would want their money back. Yeah. Jesus pretty much. Yeah. Dude, I mean, it is what it is. We talked about how, WWE is attempting to build new stars with Omos and, refeaturing some of the people that were featured on Raw under Heyman's reign and then just kind of miraculously disappeared into the ether. But here, I mean, you've got QT Marshall and this group of trainees from QT school, the factory. And yes, they're on TV every week. Yes, they're doing their thing. But I really can't wait for this experiment to just be permanently pushed to darker elevation. It just this doesn't work for me. Yeah. Anyway, long story short, Cody got busted up near the end of the match. It looked almost hard way. So that definitely helped with the finish. But Cody puts Marshall into the figure 4 and gets the tap out. While imagine this, Cody Rhodes bleeding at the finish of a match.
Can you
There's a
explain to
shocker for you.
me? Can you explain to me what got him bleeding? Because
It happened at the very end of the match. I think that it was a potato shot from Marshall. I don't think that it was like a something that was done deliberately. But because
there was one shot right like after the tap had happened.
Yeah.
And QT peeled off and Cody was kind of just sitting there and they did that camera zoom and you could see the inside of his eye was just fucking bloodshot. So he caught him like in the corner of the eye. It was kind of horrendous.
Yeah. So after that, you had Anthony Ogogo come out and punch Cody in the gut.
And throw the British
Evidently,
flag?
Anthony Ogogo has the most powerful body punches of all time.
He does.
It was just for the British flag. That's it. We got to throw the British flag over him because he's the American Nightmare. And apparently, Anthony, I got the Go-Go's, is the version from Britain of the British Nightmare or something. I don't know what they're doing with those jackasses.
I'll go with it. You know what? And they don't know either.
Can we give a quick shout out to the Taz vignette though? Obviously, the Taz vignette, as he's been doing, where he's been critiquing moves and things that people have been doing in the ring, in almost a babyface kind of a way. Prior to this week, Taz flips that on its head. Obviously, after being denied by Christian to join Team Taz, he definitely takes a heel slant with it. And he touted how superior Powerhouse Hobbs was in his offense during their match by comparison, which I thought was actually very funny, and the way that he delivered it was spot on. So that was good stuff. Then there was a 4-way tag match: Varsity Blondes, Jurassic Express, SCU, and the Acclaimed. Now, obviously, the storyline with this is anytime that SCU loses, the very next time they have to disband as a team. Okay. This match, it was stated that the winner of this match gets a title match next week against the Young Bucks. Okay. You have to be blind, deaf, and dumb in order to not figure out the direction that this match was going to go before the damn thing even started.
Here's a question for you, Steve, that I honestly could not figure out in watching it. Didn't they were the number one contenders as it was, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So they didn't even need to be in this match, realistically.
Okay.
They didn't even need to be in this match, but they were in the match just so that they locked in the title shot next week so that they can try to pop the rating. So anyway, long story short, it was a solid match. All 8 guys, again, pretty solid work rate by everybody involved, but SCU picks up the win. It was a good match. Nothing really stand out. So yeah, then my God, hour 2, this was all blood and guts. Hour 2 was all blood and guts from the build up to it, to the match itself. But before we got to that, we evidently needed to fill some time. So they sent out Kenny Omega in what honestly felt like one of the longest promo segments I've ever seen. And I've sat through Attitude Era and, after Attitude Era Triple H promos that kicked off Raw that went 20 minutes.
Let me ask you.
Good Lord.
So the show, that everything that was recorded earlier,
yes,
that's still the same night that they still did hour 2, right?
No.
It was a different day.
No, different day.
Different day.
So basically,
Okay.
everything up to and including this segment
Got you.
was, everything up to this segment was recorded prior. The promo and the blood and guts match happened that night live.
Got you. Okay.
And so you notice that what they were doing was they took fan footage and spliced it in to the first hour's matches. They put canned audience reaction. It was taped in front of no audience, man.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah, kind of crazy. But nonetheless, you had now obviously this was something that drew a fair amount of attention from a lot of people. You had Kenny Omega come out for this promo, and he's wearing the AEW championship. But he also had Michael Nakazawa come out with him, and Michael Nakazawa was carrying the AAA Mega Championship, the TNA Championship, and the Impact Championship. A lot of people took offense to this online because they felt that Kenny Omega didn't want to lower himself to carrying the Impact Championship and instead preferred to put it on the shoulder of his lackey, Michael Nakazawa. So, I mean, it is what it is. I guess confirmation bias. If you want to believe something, you'll see it every time, no matter what. But
why don't you just do what they did when Razor Ramon and Diesel when they went over into WCW? Was they the one or that took a belt and threw it in the trash can?
Nope, that was Medusa.
Yeah. That was Medusa. Okay.
Yeah.
Why don't he just go ahead and just do that to the Impact belt? Because apparently that's how they think of it anyway. Just go get a trash can and just dump it in there.
No, because what'll happen is obviously the stage is set for Kenny to make his way to New Japan and to capture that championship from Will Ospreay, so that he holds all of the championships of all of the feds other than WWE brands.
Isn't that 2 belts that Ospreay has?
No, they've consolidated that one down to 1 belt.
So it is just the one actual.
It's just the one now, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so basically it's like Kenny Omega's Thanos gauntlet. He's going to have 5 championship belts by the time it's all said and done.
Right,
The people who are complaining about that shit online, it's like, have you ever, like, as a fan, you buy one title and it's pretty fucking heavy around your waist. The guy's got 4 fucking belts. What are you gonna? And he has a lackey in Nakazawa,
right?
So why would Nakazawa be toting the fucking belts?
Right. Mm-hmm. People just want to make a stink. That's all that it is. But nonetheless, it was also announced that next week it'll be Pac versus Orange Cassidy, and the winner of that match will get an AEW championship match against Kenny Omega at Double or Nothing. So I guess we'll end up seeing Kenny Omega versus Orange Cassidy at Double or Nothing. That's going to be my guess, of course. But I'm not exactly thrilled with that, especially considering it's a dead end kind of a booking. I mean, we all know that Kenny's not going to lose the championship for several months. Any of his championships for several months. So, but nonetheless, dude, this, like I said, this promo segment just felt like it was killing time.
And that's what it's doing.
Yeah. Miro came out, did a promo. Again,
great.
He announced that he has a TNT championship match against Darby Allin next week. And I am excited for that one because I would like to see Miro, even though they're not going to give him the belt. I think that they're going to have Sabian come out, cost him the championship, just to kind of, build that feud for whatever unknown reason. but that's going to be kind of the direction. But if nothing else, this will allow them to get a feel for the reaction that Miro will get now that he's not with Sabian anymore.
Yeah, but that's a stupid fucking move on their behalf, because you're going to put them against one of the guys you're trying to build as the future of your company. And here's an established guy that fans know already. So what the fuck does that accomplish? Okay.
I don't know. And then finally, we had the blood and guts match, Pinnacle versus Inner Circle. I mean, this match went 34 minutes. It was, I think that AEW, they look at things and they almost try to book a match around an ending spot, and whatever happens in the match, they don't pay too much attention to, and they do everything that they can and put so much effort into the final spot that people see that they just find a way to fuck it up. So what I mean by that, you had a traditional War Games match. There was a ton of bloodshed, a ton of craziness going on. I do definitely recommend people check out the match. Sammy Guevara, he had an amazing match. I think, in my opinion, he was the MVP of this match.
Yeah, because he's the only one that had spots that pretty much no one else did. I mean, he's about to have another one. He kind of slipped on that one, but he had two good ones. I mean, nobody else had anything else. So yeah,
there were two spots, like what you were saying, Impact, where he jumped from one rope to the other rope to whoever he was attacking. And 2 out of 3 were successful. One he crashed and burned on, and one was a botch. So I mean, it is what it is. The 2 that he hit were awesome.
Yeah.
That was my main takeaway from this match, was just that Sammy Guevara has a huge future in this business, but not as huge of a future as MJF. MJF, in spite of the way that everything went down with the very final spot, MJF with the Crimson Mask standing on top of the cage, that's a great image. And I think the thing that really frustrates me the most is that the camera angle that they chose to go with for the spot where Jericho MJF on the top of the cage at the very end of the match, and Sammy Guevara sees that Jericho's on a specialty platform, ironically enough, right above the staging area. And MJF hits him with the diamond ring, stands him up, and he makes it known that he's going to throw Jericho off of the top of the cage through the stage. So Sammy says, all right, no, we surrender. That's it. Just don't shove him off the cage. Obviously, we all knew what was going to happen from there. So obviously the Pinnacle pick up the win, despite, I'd say, 75% of the match going for the Inner Circle. So they had some great offense, but it all came down to that little twist there at the end. And then you have MJF standing Jericho up and then shoving him off of the cage through the stage itself, which they had placed cardboard on the stage to break the fall of Chris Jericho, even going as far as covering the top layer of cardboard with what looked like a diamond-plated pattern, almost to imply that it was metal, or the announcers even said concrete. Lord have mercy. So the thing that really troubles me is the camera angle that they chose to show the fall. When Chris Jericho fell from the top of the cage, the camera angle that they chose was one that when Jericho impacted, you could plainly see that he landed on a crash pad. Then they subsequently showed camera angles that they had that captured everything perfectly. That, quite frankly, if they would have been on any of the other camera angles, I don't think that the pushback or the blowback from this would have been as bad. Just because of the camera angle, the way that everything was framed in the shot, it really took the piss out of this match. And that really sucks to say. This is obviously, if you look at the exploding ring match, that was another example of the ending spot just taking a shit all over the match itself, and people forget about the match. They only remember that final spot. Unfortunately, I think that the same holds true here. If only they would have had a different camera angle. A lot of people online were phrasing things in a way that, oh, well, we wanted Chris Jericho to fall through the stage. We wanted him to fall on metal. No, realistically, a lot of people online, myself included, I want the performers to be as safe as they possibly can. Every single match, every single second of every single match. I just wish that they would have chosen a different camera angle for the descent and the impact. That's all that I wish. I had no problem with him landing on a crash pad. How many times has WWE had guys do stunts where they've fallen into and onto a crash pad? You can't count them. There's so many. It sucks that this match will only be remembered for that final spot when it should have been remembered for the match itself.
Yeah, but you're giving the match a little too much there, because one of the biggest things, and I think this is one of the biggest problems with AEW, is, hey, let's just let everyone bleed. Then everything will be good because it looks so fucking, looks like they're doing something. This is coming from the wrestling company.
Right.
That's what I don't like. If you would have had MJF with that crimson mask up there by himself at the end, great. But you had horrible bloodlettings going on. And you know what? Why? What did it do for any of those guys? Because now all we're talking about are two things. The image of MJF up there with the crimson mask, which you should be, and Chris Jericho hitting the cardboard fucking shit, which you're right, camera angles, and at some point, bring back the mystique. One of the things that ECW was great about is they never showed you it the first time when it happened live, because A, they were concerned if the guy did break his neck and die, on a show. But B, the truth of the matter is, it makes it that much more dangerous by feeling that, by, just the, could you imagine if JR just starts losing his shit and we didn't see that impact? And then the next thing we see is Jericho and like people that you've never seen before over there.
Right.
And then you're going through your footage going, okay, what angle looks the best? Let's use this one. And that's your replay. I've never fucking sat in a booth and directed, and I can tell you that is the way you do it. That's as simple as this. But Shayna Baszler, best reaction to the fans. We don't actually want a village to be burned by a dragon in Game of Thrones. If they did that, that would be really bad. But if the special effects would have been garbage, it would have sucked also, and everyone would have said so. So, these guys literally bled their fucking blood by the pints.
Yeah.
Or something to make it irrelevant.
Yep.
So why should they even wrestle to the point of, if you can't get your shit together and you cost these guys, listen, one guy, if one guy comes down with some kind of blood infused infection from a match like that, you just fucked up.
Yep.
Because it's not worth it. It's not worth it, man. And that's frustrating. And
Now,
I know that, you know, there's so many different opinions and theories of how it, you know, how it went down and everything. But, you know, the true honest answer is, in 1988, if you saw the bleeding going on, that's something based in a reality show, right? Back then, people were still convinced that there was a truth to the reality of these guys. Now there's no truth to the reality. So be a little more responsible with it. You can do fucking fabulous shit. We've seen what NXT has done with their war games. And you don't see the type of bloodletting that we saw here. Especially, you know, Sammy starting it off. Guy was in the fucking match this whole time. And he, you know, he posts the picture online and he looked like it's just like, is this worth it? Is this what you really want to be doing in this profession? And that is just mashing your body up.
Yeah. And I will say one thing, as far as the match goes. I have a very good friend that hasn't watched any wrestling in about 5 years. And the reason why he left the product, why he stopped watching WWE, was because of how watered down things had become, and how, in his words, how hokey the bullshit had become. So I told him, I was like, hey dude, do me a favor. Just check out. I figured that it was going to go on in the second hour, obviously, of Dynamite. So I told him, hey, 9 p.m. TNT, tune in, and you're not going to know anybody in the match. You're not going to know anybody, but I just want you to watch the match for what it is and what they do, and just let me know what you think. And his comment to me was, immediately after the match ended, so they do this shit. So they're live every week on TNT, right? Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm going to start watching Dynamite. That was exactly what he told me. Somebody that hasn't watched a pro wrestling program in over 5 years, coming back to the product based off of this match alone. So I think that
Steve, here's the question. So now they have to do that every fucking single week, right? No, seriously. Because you're telling me that you start watching and you go, oh, the Dark Order. Why are they fucking hanging out on a motorcycle lawnmower with fucking this cowboy? You know what I'm saying? This is bullshit to hear. Oh, it was hokey. Wrestling's hokey. Oh, wow, this is great. They're fucking blood and guts and blah, blah, blah. And fucking, yeah. Well, now you're in a bad position, because now you have to do it every fucking single week. And you know who's going to be doing it every week? Cody fucking Rhodes. Because, of course,
who else?
Yeah, that's all he seems to know how to do. Plus, by the way, and my buddy Chris just reminded me, you fucking saw the blade in goddamn Jericho's hand for the longest time. I mean, come on. Just, it's frustrating, because things should be better in a different sense. I don't disagree that a person tunes in and sees the match and should be interested in seeing more. But at the same time, you had a situation where they got out of the ring during picture in picture, which was dumb.
That was honestly, outside of the camera angle with Jericho, that was my biggest complaint with this match.
Yeah, that was dumb. And then the other thing too that I thought was extremely fucking dangerous was the cage itself was not snug. There was points where guys could have easily fucking broken their ankles, because that thing was just going, and they were hitting the outside on the apron, and it looked like, oh shit, that's not good. So it's like, you could have all these ideas. You could have a great show. You can do it, but don't fucking do it without really going through the work that needs to be done to make sure it's a safe environment for your performers. You know, that's what it comes down to. I mean, shit. Honestly, I didn't know how MJF was going to make it off the top of the cage after the match, because he's got this crimson mask. There's obviously, just fucking blood everywhere. So I'm sure it was not very easy to walk. And he has to crawl to get to the edge to then kind of climb down it and stuff. It's just like, what are you guys thinking? And this to me, when a wrestler ends up dying because of one of their fucking stupid mistakes in, prepping everything, then Tony Khan, he's not going to survive it, man. That's a problem. So be safe. Be safe.
Agreed.
Wow, we broke that down. So, hopefully you agree or disagree. But there was a lot of people that had a lot to say about that. And we're also going to talk more about that in our 3 count, which if you're listening to the podcast, it will be available on Tuesday's podcast. But if you're watching us live now, we're going to be doing that live in a few minutes. So just quickly, right quick, just on ROH, they did do 3 matches. They did one with the Briscoes versus Flip Gordon and EC3. Very good match, Flip Gordon and EC3. They did win that. EC3, I got to tell you, his look is still looking great. It looked like he's gotten better, even in the ring. He's still kind of going after this kind of I don't know, this sort of the same type of vibe they gave him when he was over at Impact, and this guy of all who's exposing truth and knows all and all types. He's kind of taken on that same role when you do watch him in ROH, but they don't really, being that he's not on there on a weekly basis, you just kind of forget that. But still, when you see him, he just looks great. I can say that from the time from Impact to now, he just looks better. And I think over time, if they just continue to keep, working with him, I think there is possibility of greatness coming from him. I really do see it. But and you can even tell in this match too. So they did take the win against the Briscoes. There was also a match. Brian Johnson had an open challenge, and he ended up fighting. He thought he was going to fight Dan Housing, but Dan Housing eventually brought out PCO. And listen, man, PCO just don't lose often, man. And he didn't lose this match. And it's always great to see him because, I mean, PCO, man, he just don't care, man. He's there to do the work, and what trips you out is when you know the man's age and seeing what he's able to do off the top rope. It's just amazing. He had a great match. And
who did he wrestle?
Brian Johnson.
Who?
Well, that's his name. And he issued the open.
Lead vocalist of AC/DC. What?
I know, right?
Exactly.
But the main event was between Angelina Love. We don't get to see many women matches on Ring of Honor versus Quinn McKay. Now, of course, Quinn McKay, she's the host of the show. She does the backroom interviews and everything. And she got a chance to have this match. So just to kind of remind you, during the 19th anniversary show, they had mentioned that there's going to be a women's world title tournament, which is going to happen this summer. So it's the first ever Ring of Honor's women's world champion that will take place. So that's pretty awesome. And
wait. It's the first ever women's tournament to take place. They've had women's champions before,
right?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So we had that, and then So there was a match between Angelina Love and again Quinn McKay, which that was actually a really good match, considering that you didn't know what you was going to get out of Quinn, and Angelina's been in the business for a long time. For a minute, it seemed like Angelina was just going to dominate, which, she did do that. And at one point, it was like, okay, this is over. And then all of a sudden, she, instead of making Quinn just pass out, she just kind of just, like, why even finish her off? Again, Quinn then catches her breath and begins to now, do a couple of moves on her, thinking, man, maybe Quinn's going to pull this off, doing a couple of submissions on her. And it was like, okay, well, it's going to be interesting. But then Angelina came right back and just finished her off with one of her submission moves, and Angelina, of course, won that match. So the whole purpose of that was the winner of that match, they get the first round bye in the upcoming women's title. So anyways, that was that. And like I say, you don't often get to see Quinn at all fight, because that's not, but it was a dream of hers. She got a chance to have it. And but Angelina was definitely more vigilant in the ring during that. And of course, having Mandy Leon outside doesn't also help Quinn in any way, because she interfered in different times. So good stuff over in Ring of Honor, and I'm looking forward to see what happens this summer with the tournament. So with that, let's jump over to SmackDown. What was going on over there? I was actually quite entertained, like I always am.
Oh, throwback weekend or throwback week for Fox Sports. So that makes you realize that SmackDown started 22 years ago. Fuck.
Yeah.
We are old. One of the bad things about this whole throwback, though, was the fact that they used the old WWE logo. They used the old music. And all that shit that they were doing was pre-SmackDown by 10 to 15 years.
Right.
So it really was kind of out of place. They could have just time framed it in 1999 and it would have been fine. So that was a little distracting. Ico Pro got a nice Ico Pro commercial, and we got to hear Lord Alfred's voice during that. Promotional consideration paid for by the following. If you grew up in the 80s, you knew that by heart. Same with the Duggan ice cream bar commercial. So, I could see what they were going for. Not bad to see. Cesaro and Seth started off. It was a very, again, good thing for those guys. They're great. So it really was a nice long match that you knew what was basically going to happen. But Seth and Roman backstage really kind of made me think that Seth and Roman, they'd make a good team. I don't know if they've ever thought about putting those guys together, but there always seems that there's like something shielding those guys away from each other, which is kind of weird. Right. But if they had some, moxie to them, maybe it would all come together. I don't know. Then, the gold here, we got backstage with Sammy and Teddy Long. Holy fuck, that was just beautiful. Go back, if you guys haven't seen it, go back and watch it. And if you've seen it, watch it a couple times. And if you do drugs, watch it a few times high, because it's fucking amazing. So Jimmy Uso comes back tonight, and that's the main through line of Uso's obviously going to be with the family, or is he not with the family? What's going on? But on my count, Jimmy did say bitch. So there was another bitch count this week on wrestling. So then you had a women's match And I couldn't figure out who the dude was behind the curtain who was dancing, who had like the shadow going on. And then when the thing falls, it's Carmella. Like, who knew that she had such a nice dude featured shadow? It was pretty pretty impressive. Okay. So that was for a match against Liv and or Ruby. Yeah, see, like at that point, it was so interchangeable to me because Michael Cole actually said the words, "This is an important match." And my thumb got sore from the fast forwarding. So, it was just like, oh God, okay. Bailey and Bianca again, golden when she laughs at Bianca, not on Bailey's level, just good stuff coming from Bailey. Can we please drop the WrestleMania before Backlash? Because everyone is pausing before they say the word Backlash. So it sounds like they're making WrestleMania matches a fucking year in advance. It's fucking annoying. Drop it, guys. It's stupid. We don't care. We get it. If it wasn't a Backlash right after WrestleMania, the word itself tells you what it is. Dolph Ziggler speaking truth. Speaking truth, man. And using the word flounder just like Animal House. Boy, it's just nice to see, someone just call out Dominic for just being Dominic. And he needs some roids. That's it, man. Dolph Ziggler, who's not a huge guy in comparison to a lot of guys in wrestling, but he's a nice built guy. Dominic needs to get to that shape. Otherwise, I'd fucking trade him to AEW and have him team with Darby, because if he's next to Darby, he'd look like a fucking man. So if you can't roid, just do it that. Tamina and Reggie, boy, man, Reggie can flip and fly and do shit. And that was nice. And also he can get kicked in the face and fall down, and the match is over like that. So it's like, okay, all right, what are we doing? Aziz, did you guys see the huge fucking earbud he had with him in that promo? It was fucking amazing, man. That thing was like fucking as big as he was. And I was like, wow, man, Apple's making earbuds for guys that big. Boy, that that was a match. I don't know. By the end of SmackDown, it's just like, yeah, okay, we got one more week until Backlash. Oh shit, I gotta sit through another one of these. So I mean, they're doing some good stuff, but really everything's in a holding pattern just to get through this fucking pay-per-view. So
yeah. Did you want to add anything to that, Sin City?
No, I mean, I do think that although it's 10 years too late, it's good to see them finally giving Cesaro the spotlight and a great push. I think that, quite honestly, they've done a good job with allowing him to almost get to a point where he's a credible contender against Roman. I would love to see, Jimmy have Roman or cost Roman the title or something, or, something to that effect. But unfortunately, it feels like as if we're stuck in yet another lame duck WWE booking where we already know who's going to win the match as soon as it is announced and before the match even happens. So,
yeah, but how is he going to win it?
Right. I mean, that's ultimately going to be the thing.
I think that, your logic being that Jimmy, would cost him, I think that's actually going to be flipped. I think Jimmy ends up costing Cesaro. But see, this is another fucked up thing, man. If you would have had the ability to have Jimmy back 4 weeks ago and build like this really cool relationship with Cesaro, hey man, fuck these guys, man, I see the way he treats my brother, fuck him, I'm part of this family too, and who's he to say this? And I'm going to help you fucking take this guy down. And then at the pay-per-view, he screws Cesaro. Now you got a feud between Jimmy and him, and you got Roman still with the belt, and you got, but who knows?
The only thing that really kind of gives me some sort of comfort in this whole Cesaro and Roman Reigns situation is that obviously, Cesaro left everybody lying this episode of SmackDown, not next week's episode of SmackDown. Reason being is if he does it again next week, then we know without question that Reigns is definitely going over in a convincing fashion at the pay-per-view because WWE 50-50 booking. So, I mean, typically the person who stands tall at the end of the go-home show toward a pay-per-view is not the guy that wins the match. That's been the case for years and years.
Yeah.
And I don't know. We'll see what happens, but yeah.
All right. No doubt. Hey, I wanted to piggyback just right quick, going back to Ring of Honor, because I want to clarify that on the women's champion. It says Ring of Honor has not had a women's champion since the Women of Honor Championship that was retired at the end of 2019. And Kelly Klein was the last wrestler to hold that title before her departure of Ring of Honor. The title was retired afterward, but now it would be replaced by the Ring of Honor Women's World Champion. So yeah, they just seem like they changed the name and the belt for that particular.
Yeah, they had to get away, like any way they can distance themselves from Kelly because of the lawsuits going on.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to. And it was just the way you said it. It just sounded like they hadn't had a women's champion before.
Right.
But the tournament, it's definitely first of its kind. Also, really quick, MLW started up on Vice.
Yes.
And you know what? It's it wasn't new content that I caught on Saturday. There were 2 episodes that aired that was actually old content that they pieced together, which meant that and they were both 1 hour episodes. The second hour was a Leo Rush match. I didn't really take notes, to be honest, but it was like a 40-minute match. It was really, really some strong stuff. But the first hour that they had, it had stuff with the Dynasty, with Hammerstone and with MJF. So the beauty of it is that for those people who might be tuning in who don't know MLW, you get to see MJF on your TV and go, oh shit, he's with them? Okay. And then, of course, when they go to watch new episodes, he's not going to be on it. And there goes the ratings right there. So damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Well, yeah. Sin City Steve, as we close out the show, I guess there wasn't too much going on in New Japan, but I guess one of the biggest news, was 7 more. It said New Japan wrestlers test positive for COVID-19. So I guess that right there could be some pretty big news, but I could have been missing something, man.
I was going to say, you're missing a couple of things there, buddy.
Okay.
So New Japan Pro Wrestling Dontaku show was this past week, and there is a new New Japan Never Openweight champion as Jay White defeats Hiroshi Tanahashi in about 39 minutes to win the Never Openweight championship in what a lot of people are calling an absolute war. So these guys brought it, and it was a 39-minute match. Jay White reversed a dragon suplex into the Blade Runner and picked up the pin clean in the middle.
Wow.
Afterward, Jay White healed up, cutting a promo mocking Tanahashi's "never give up, never quit" catchphrase, and saying that it's time for Tanahashi to hang up the boots. So the thing that's very interesting is with this win, Jay White completed his New Japan Grand Slam Championship. So he's won every heavyweight singles title in New Japan Pro Wrestling, which is pretty amazing when you think about it. And if you think how far he's come since, since he burst onto the scene for a lot of American wrestling fans during his time in Ring of Honor. So yeah, man, props to Jay White. And then on, the very next night, night 2 of Dontaku, there was a match that I urge everyone to go out and watch. Will Ospreay defended the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship against Shingo Takagi. 44-minute match, almost 45-minute match. These dudes absolutely killed it. Dave Meltzer, take it with a grain of salt, whatever. But he's already gone as far as to give the match 5 stars. And it was a solid match, man.
Yeah.
If you have New Japan World, I highly recommend looking it up. Give yourself the 45 minutes to enjoy this match. I did check it out actually right before we went on the air here, and dude, go for it. It was Ospreay's first defense of this particular championship, and both Ospreay and Takagi brought it, and they killed it. Do yourself a favor, go check it out.
No doubt.
I'm not going to give away the winner of the match, but yeah.
Yeah, sure. All right, cool. Everyone, thank you for hanging out with us. We do record this show on Sunday, so that's also the reason why you hear us also say Happy Mother's Day. So we want to wish that out to all the mothers one more time. But we thank everyone for rocking with us on chat. And if you happen to be listening to this on the podcast, thank you for downloading it. And make sure you listen to the podcast for Tuesday night, was 3 Count, where we got 3 good topics. And we're going to talk again a little bit more about the blood and guts. So with that, thank you for hanging out with us, and we will see you next time. Peace.
Happy Mother's